I'm Becky and I work with the learning team at Tudor House. Unfortunately, I can't be there again today, so I'm filming from my kitchen, so please excuse the odd noise in the background. Today I'm going to talk to you a bit more about Tudor women, in particular about the punishments that women could face if they were seen by society as causing trouble. Women in Tudor England were very much seen as other. They had very little rights, and they were seen as the property of their husbands and fathers. Consequently, whilst men were seen as energetic, brave, and strong and wise, women were meant to be gentle, tender, kind and weak. Women were meant to be passive and submissive. They were not meant to argue or answer back. They were not meant to have an opinion of their own. Society judged their opinions as being the same as their husbands and fathers. So because of this, if a woman was seen as arguing or voicing an opinion that was her own, it was seen by society as a threat because she was contradicting her husband and father, and it meant that they had lost control of their household. Women that were seen as doing this were denounced as Scolds. The definition of a scold is a person, but most exclusively a woman, who nags and grumbles constantly. Now, the image of a scold can in many ways bring up the funny image of a woman with a metal cage on her head, fixed on her head for constantly nagging. However, if we look at one, we can see that the image is far from fun, and it looks more like an instrument of torture rather than something designed to be funny. I mean, if we look at this one here, could you imagine having that on your head? It looks like it would be particularly heavy as it's made of metal, but more importantly we have the little metal tab which is designed to go into your mouth, which will not only stop you speaking, imagine that by stopping you speaking it will also be cutting into your tongue, gums and the mouth area in general. Also, the Scolds bridle, as it was known, was certainly designed to demonstrate to all that this woman was being punished, and this is the punishment other women could face if they were seen as talking out of turn. To Tudor England, the scold represented the power of a woman's tongue and the fear that it could challenge the natural order. Many male humanists, such as Sir Thomas More, were all in favour of female education, but they were against women learning the art of rhetoric. Now, rhetoric is defined by the Oxford English Dictionary as the art of using language so as to persuade or influence others. For boys, it was seen as an important part of their education in becoming the future leaders of society. As the historian John Gunn comments, for eloquence of speech represents authority, dignity and refinement in a man, but in a woman it represented a sign of impudence, guile and moral laxity. It is no wonder then that the average woman could face having to wear the Scold's bridle if she spoke out of turn, for she would be seen as challenging her husband, not just her husband's authority, but the authority of society, which had men as the rulers and women as very much just in the background. However, there was another punishment that women could face for talking out of turn that many would argue was much worse. Besides the bridle, the other form of punishment was for scolding was the ducking stool or the cucking stool. These were crane-like contraptions which were placed by a river or pond with a seat for the victim to be sat on, so they could be dunked up and down in the water. In the medieval period, it was a punishment for both men and women, but by the Tudor period, it was seen as a punishment exclusively for women. It also seems to be a very popular method of punishment with the authorities of Southampton, for in 1576 they lamented that they were missing a cucking stool upon the ditches, and it had been therefore accustomed. By 1601 it had been re-erected and in need of repair, and by 1603 authorities were after a portable cucking stool so that it may be carried from door to door. Now, I'm afraid I do not know how often it was used, but if we look at the Court Leets entry from 1603, we see that Southampton's mayor was certainly having to deal with scolds on a daily basis, or at least created the perception that he was having to do so. Either way, its mere presence in the town, particularly in a portable form, would certainly send a powerful message to the women of Southampton. In the case of women being sentenced to the cucking stool, it does seem to be more than just women gossiping about the state of their neighbour's laundry. In Essex, in 1574, a woman was sentenced to the stool for attacking Roger Veal, the Lord Bailiff. Also, in the ballad The Cucking of the Scold is only sent to the stool after she rages against the constable. Now, if you actually read the lyrics to this ballad, you'll see that she rages against him because he has peed up the side of her house. But the fact that she was raging against a man in authority would certainly have been seen as her challenging the authority of the male in charge and of the structure of society. Therefore, a woman seen as attacking authority of any sort, including a husband, was seen as trying to obscure the natural order of things. However, there is a much more troubling crime that is associated with the cucking stool: witchcraft. With the case of women being denounced as witches, it is important to remember that England never suffered from the same hysteria as in Europe and America. In fact, of the estimated between 40,000 and 100,000 women who were executed for witchcraft in Western Europe, less than 1,000 were English. However, this lack of hysteria should not detract from the fact that denouncing a woman as a witch was, in the words of historian Anne Lawrence, allowing women to be controlled by the threat of institutionalised violence, especially as the majority of women accused and or tried were women on their own. Although just outside the Tudor period in Essex in 1645, 6% of the women accused of witchcraft were either widowed or unmarried. They probably also had no father or male presence in their lives to protect them. The famous Southampton accusation of 1594 saw William Hopgood accuse Widow Wells of causing the death of 5 or 6 of his pigs by making them dance to death. However, if we look at this extract from the court leet, we see that Widow Wells' only crime was probably simply that she was poor and alone, meaning that she would have had no male protection and was very much seen as an outsider who society could see as a threat. And in fact, if we look at these woodcuts from the period showing witches, we see that these are women who are clearly by themselves. There's no male presence in their lives. They are old. They're probably seen by society as fulfilling their use as a wife and a mother, or maybe never had that in the first place. They are also, we can see in a few of them, women carrying sticks, so they probably had a disability, which would have meant society had no particular use for them. They wouldn't have been able to work or provide for themselves. Although men could also be accused of witchcraft, it was predominantly women who were likely to be accused. The reason for this can be found in a book that was published in 1616 called The Treatise of Witchcraft, which demonstrated how women were seen as weaker than men and therefore more likely to be taken in by the devil. The author lays out 6 reasons for this. The first was that that women are by nature credulous, wanting, i.e. they're lacking experience, and therefore more easily deceived. Therefore, women are more easily taken in by these things. Secondly, they harbour in their breast a curious and inquisitive desire to know such things as not befitting. They want to know things that women really shouldn't know. Thirdly, their complexion, i.e. physical condition, is softer and from hence much more easily received impressions offered by the devil. Therefore, they're weaker mentally, which means that the devil's more easily to infiltrate them. Fourthly, they have a greater facility to fall. Therefore, the devil at first took advantage and set upon Eve in Adam's absence. Going back to the Bible, it's famously Eve that is taken in and is easily deceived with the apple and therefore tricks Adam. Fifthly, their sex, when it is conceived wrath or hatred against any, is implacable, possesses of an insatiable desire for revenge. Women are vengeful creatures, they don't like being crossed. And sixthly, and perhaps most interestingly, given the punishments we have been talking about, they are of slippery tongue and full of words. Therefore, if they know any such wicked practices, are not able to hold them, but communicate the same with their husbands and children. Therefore, as we have seen, a woman's tongue, when expressing views that society did not like, was very much a threat to society and therefore needed to be stopped. Right, well, thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry it's only a short one, but keep an eye out for our summer brochure, where we'll be doing a lot more online and live talks and workshops, and including one by me. Okay, enjoy your summer. Thank you. Bye bye.